Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Alisa here, and today in this serger only project we are going to be making undies. Now for those of you who clicked on this video but you don't have a serger, please don't feel discouraged. Simply substitute anything that we do on a serger with a zigzag stitch, a lightning stitch, or any other stretch stitch that you have on your sewing machine and you'll be good to go. To get started on this project and really practice our serger skills and in the process make something useful, you will need to download a free pattern. And I use the one from Waves and Wild. And a beautiful thing about that pattern is that it comes in two options. It comes in briefs or in boxers. The pattern is only about 7 pages, so it really doesn't take much to print it out. Plus, the instructions that come with the pattern on how to put this all together are really great, so you're going to be in good hands. Now, after you have your pattern all taped together, you can either cut the size that you need, or in my case, I prefer tracing it. In terms of fabric for the undies, I like to use a mix between 95% cotton and 5% spandex. This is knit and it stretches in both directions, so it features a 4-way stretch. For the inside liner, however, I do like to use 100% cotton knit. Now, since I'm using this project also as a way how to incorporate some of the fabric scraps, for the bands, I'm using a slightly different knit combination. This time it is 90% cotton and 10% spandex. So as you can see, you can definitely mix and match. Now I'm working on the pattern for briefs, which features 5 pattern pieces. A really important thing to pay attention to is the direction of the stretch and how many of those pattern pieces you will need to cut. So first we have the front pattern piece. It's cut on the fold, so if I remove this pin, right here the fabric is folded and the direction of the stretch goes this way. Then we have the back pattern piece, which is also cut on the fold right over here with the same direction of stretch. Then we have a waistband for the top. The thing here is that it also is cut on the fold, but I did run out of fabric scraps. Therefore, instead of cutting one pattern piece on a fold, I cut 2 pattern pieces and I'm going to create seams on both sides. Next, we have 2 leg bands. They're both cut on the fold right over here, and also the inside liner or a gusset, also cut on the fold with the same direction of stretch. The pattern also already includes 1/4 inch seam allowance, so you don't have to add anything. To get started, we need to grab the front pattern piece and open it up like this. Next, grab the back pattern piece and also open it flat, but this time face down, so the right side of the fabric facing down. We will also need the inside gusset or the lining piece. We want to choose the side that has the seam allowance, and you will see that it's angled a little bit, so that's the one that you want. You want to place it also wrong side up, right here on the back pattern piece. Next, exactly as it is, bring it over the front pattern piece. It is easier to pin it the other way around, so I'm going to flip it, pin it, and with this 3-layer sandwich, we're going to head to the serger. I will be using just a regular 4-thread serger technique, and as I mentioned before, this pattern already includes 1/4 inch or 6mm seam allowances. Now, if you're just not sure how wide is your serger seam, what you can do is grab a scrap piece of fabric, run it through your serger, and then measure the width of the seam. If you need to make it wider, most sergers have a width adjustment knob. You simply need to turn it in order to adjust it, and then measure again until you get the width that you need. Next, place the part that we have pinned right underneath the serger presser foot, lower it, and run it through your serger. This is what you're going to have once done. Place and open your undies like this. Take the gusset and now fold it in the opposite direction so the seam is totally enclosed. A great additional step is to give this area a quick little press that will truly ensure that this area is nice and flat. Since this part of the liner isn't attached as per instructions of the pattern, we're going to use a couple of pins to hold it together. Now I will give you a few tips on how to make sure that it is attached, and we're going to take a look at it as soon as we're done with this one. Further, we're going to grab the pattern like this and bring the side seams together. We're going to pin them on one side, aligning all of the edges, and we're going to pin them on the other side the same way. Now at the serger, we're going to serge it here and here. If instead of a really nice flat seam, your serger gives you a really wavy one, please remember that you can generally remedy that by adjusting your differential feed. Now, if you want to know what differential feed is, how it works, and how to adjust it and what kind of result we can get out of it, then please take a look at the entire serger series that I made just for you, so that way you can truly get all of the benefits that serger has, and you can truly understand how it works, and therefore really unleash your creativity. I will leave the links to all of the episodes in the description of this video. Next, we need to sew the leg bands and the waistband. Here we're going to place them right sides together. For the waistband, as I mentioned, I had to cut them separate instead of a fold. So I'm going to have a seam here and a seam here, right sides facing. For the leg bands, we're just going to have one seam. So place them right sides together. So one over here and the other one over here. Once done, let's start with the waistband. It's going to be the pattern piece that's the widest. To minimize the bulk that is created by this seam allowance, once we're going to be folding it, what we can do is a little bit of seam nesting. Now you can clip in here, and that is going to create a better result. But for those who don't want to clip, all you have to do is simply push the seam allowance in two separate directions, right in the middle, and then while holding it, fold it wrong sides together, like this. Now the seam allowances are looking in different directions. Next, let's turn the waistband up so the raw edges are facing up. We're going to place it right sides together with the main project and pin at each of the side seams. You can also add a little pin in the middle to hold it all together. Just like this, at the serger, we're going to serge in the round. The waistband is a little bit shorter than the top opening of the undies, so you will need to stretch it a little bit as you go. It's done the same way as you would when you're installing elastic. Now, if it is easier for you to have the waistband on top instead of underneath like I have right here, then pin accordingly and switch it in places. With the top being complete, now we're going to do exactly the same steps with the leg bands. Now the pattern suggests to line up the seam of the leg band with the side seam of the undies. But what I would do is I would actually push them a little bit towards the back, so that way you don't have two quite thick seams meeting one on top of another, like I did right over here. While pinning the leg band, keep in mind that we also have the little gusset that we have to sandwich in, since it's not attached just yet. So just be very mindful of that and make sure that it's all lined up and pinned nicely. Now we're going to serge it in the round like we did with the waistband. When I work on projects like these, I find myself stopping and readjusting quite often. When I do that, I try to make sure that the needles are inside of the project so they don't move and I can continue seam smoothly. Last thing for us to do is to tuck in all of the serger ends and of course give it a really good press. Now let's take a look at it from the outside, from the right side of the fabric. And of course, let's take a look on the inside as well. Here's that gusset that I was talking about. On one side it's sewn, and on the other one it's left as is. So let me show you a little alteration that you can do in order to enclose both ends. We're going to start by grabbing the front pattern piece and the little piece of the lining, the inside piece. We're going to place them like this because they match. And right here on top, we're going to outline where the lining ends. Next, we're going to fold it right on this line. You don't have to cut it off, you just need to fold it. And that's how we're going to cut the front pattern piece. The only thing is that now here on the bottom, we need to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance as you cut your fabric. You can see it right over here. When it comes to the inner lining, now we will need to cut 2 of those. One for the inside, one for the outside, to extend the missing piece of the front pattern piece. Here we're going to do the same. We will need to add a seam allowance right here on the top. Once again, you can see it over here. For this next step, we can start with the front pattern piece or the back pattern piece. It doesn't really matter. We're going to open up the front pattern piece like this. Take the outer gusset, place it, And now we're going to take the inner gusset and we're going to place it right side down, and we're going to align it from the other side, like this. Now we're going to pin it together and take it to the serger. When the seam is done, first give it a good press from this side, then open up both of the gussets, align them, and give it a good press from this side. And this is what we have so far. Next, grab the back pattern piece right here where we need to connect it to the front. First, we're going to connect it to the outside fabric, right sides together, and pin it. Next, we're going to do a little burrito flip, so just follow the movement of my hands. You're going to grab this loose piece of the gusset, bring it over like this, fold the back pattern piece on the inside, bring the raw edge of the gusset of the inside together where we have pinned, remove the pins and re-pin it, so that way now you have a 3-layer seam. That's how you're going to take it to the serger. When you're done, simply pull everything out, give it a good press, and ta-da! Now you have the inside liner with both ends enclosed. The rest of the steps are finished exactly the same as we did in the first example, and there you have it, the final result. The name of the pattern is Speedy Pants. You can find the link in the description, and they indeed are so quick to make. So I truly hope that you got to practice your skills, you got to make something useful, and if you want to see more serger only projects, then click right over here. I truly hope to see you in those series, and until next time, happy serging. I'll see you soon. Bye!